Connected. There's nothing that sucks more than meeting someone cool you get along with online, but there's a distance between you two. This is the story of how I took a leap of faith when it came to love. 2 years ago, I was staying at home with my parents. I had finished high school and was not sure what to do with my life. I was not sure about college. I didn't want to just conform and do what everyone else was doing. See, I was a rebel. Well, I'd like to think so. I liked all the unconventional things in terms of music, fashion, and life in general. Anything that seemed to be interesting or unusual was always welcome to me. My friendship circle consisted of diverse people from different countries with different interests. I always believed in the phrase, the more the merrier. Most of my friends were online friends, some I had met and others I had not. I was part of many friendship groups, but my sexuality was something that I was not so confident about. I was already weird in everyone's eyes. Very few people liked me, and those who liked me were considered freaks themselves. I was out, but I faced a lot of homophobia on a daily basis. My parents were okay with my sexuality, but the problem was that they cared too much about what other people thought, especially my mom. So when I dated, I had to hide my relationships. After a while, I stopped dating anyone because I didn't want to face the backlash from people. In a time as progressive as ours, we queer people still face a lot of homophobia from people around us. Some of them come outright and say it, but whisper it behind our backs. All this because we just want to love. As I said earlier, I was part of a few friendship groups. That was when I met Enrique. He was friends with Zia, one of my close friends. Enrique and I started to talk to each other on social media after I had been on a call with him and Zia. He had seemed very cool and we had a lot in common. Like me, he liked old music and anything artistic, so we hit it off. I found out that he was living quite far from where I lived. That was a bummer because he was so cool, but I continued to chat with him. We spent hours talking to each other. Sometimes we would go to sleep speaking on the phone. I had never met someone quite like him, someone who talked to me about the world and the disasters that we were facing. Ancient history, music, anything that came to mind, and he made me laugh as well. He was too hilarious at times. His energy alone was infectious. I wonder where he had been hiding all my life because he was now my new best friend. I didn't see him as more than a friend in the beginning because I had sworn off all love and anything to do with love. My plan was to find something to do with my life, move to the city and then be myself. There was no safe place for me in the world, but some places were much safer than others, and we'd be much easier to live in, so I had decided to take a break from dating. But we started to share more about each other, more about our lives, our realities. We had never discussed sexuality, for we were too busy discussing monoliths, but we eventually got to the conversation. I had thought that maybe he was straight because most of the people that I knew were straight, but imagine my surprise when I found out that that wasn't the case. He was gay, like me. I felt like it couldn't get any better. He understood me, but there was the matter of distance. For us to meet, one of us would have to get on a plane and fly over to the other one. I was barely making anything at the guitar shop where I worked, and he was studying, so that would not work out for us. No matter how much we wanted to meet, we could not. Another thing, he told me that he was not yet out. I understood his situation because I was once in the closet myself. I gave him as much support as I could, for coming out was not to be taken lightly. I was slightly protective of him because he was my friend and I didn't want him to face the big bad world. I remember a conversation we had about it on a phone call. "How are you feeling today, Ricky?" I said. Ricky was my nickname for him. "Okay-ish, long day at school. What did you get up to?" he asked. "Haunted house with a friend," I said. "No way, that's so cool, dude," he exclaimed. I chuckled. "Sort of been there multiple times," I said. "If I had someone to go with, I would have gone already." "I wanted to ask you something though," he said. "Sure, what's up, dude?" I asked. "Say I wanted to come out. I've been thinking about it a lot. Who do I start with?" he said. "Trusted friends are the safest. Then maybe a sibling or your parents," I said. "As soon as I get the bravery, man. My dad, he would kill me," he said. "I understand, my dear friend." Things between us started to change. We became flirtier with each other as time passed. I started to develop feelings for him. Never thought that I would have feelings for someone I had never met before, but there was something about him that I could not shake. His brilliant mind, the banter, it was irresistible. He was so cute looking with curly brown hair, light brown eyes, and a tall lanky body. He was just my type. We continued to flirt for a while, neither of us making a move, but the more I spoke to him, the more I liked him. I got sad when he was not online or if he didn't reply to my messages. When my phone pinged, I always checked to see if it was him, and if it was, I would be overjoyed. He made me happy. For the first time in a while, I felt like I believed in love again. I got a new job. It was not paying much, but I managed to get my own place. That day was one of the happiest days of my life because he asked me out. We both discussed the risks of dating online, and we decided to risk it all. We would meet one day, no matter how long it would take us. We told very few people about our relationship. Zia, the one who introduced us, actually lived near my boyfriend. That is useful information for later. Dating online is different. For the most part, we could not cuddle or kiss. I would go to bed hoping that one day we would be in each other's arms. That one day would be kissing and cuddling to our heart's content. We managed to make the relationship last longer than we had thought. On birthdays and anniversaries, we sent letters and gifts to each other. Those were very special to me. I would smell them and hug them because they had once been touched by him. The longing killed me. I could not wait longer. I wanted to be with him. I remember the day that we confessed our love to each other. We had a virtual date. We watched a movie together, each of us in our own homes. That was one thing that I liked about technology. It was so easy to connect with someone no matter the distance between you two. As we were watching the movie, he told me to pause. I did, as he asked me, because I thought he needed to go somewhere, and he could be back soon. But I was still there. He wanted to say something important to me. Sure, babe, what's up? I hope that he was not going to break up with me. I knew that was unlikely, but I always expected the worst. I wanted to tell you something that I've been thinking about lately. Hope that you will listen to me with an open heart, he said. Sure, what's up? I propped my phone so that I could see him more clearly. I love you, Noah, he said. My heart melted at that point. He loved me? I nearly jumped up and down with joy because of his confession. I love you too, Enrique, I said. I started to cry right then. I had found love. Things were great for a while. We fell deeper in love every day, but he started to become more distant. He would text me less and less. On most days, I did not get a good morning text. I wondered what was up with him since things had been good between us. When I called, he would tell me that he was busy and he would call me later. He used to drop everything to talk to me. Now suddenly I was not important? This was suspicious. I did not want to think such horrible thoughts about my boyfriend, but I was getting worried. I asked Zia if she had noticed anything strange about him or whether he had been hanging out with anyone new lately. I was relieved when she told me that he was not hanging out with anyone new, and that he was acting normal, so the problem had to be in our relationship, like I feared. One day I called him and he rushed to give me excuses again like he usually did, but I told him that I was going to have none of that. He was either going to tell me the truth or I would break up with him. Okay, fine, I have no choice. I've been making plans to visit you. I took on a job so that I could save up for flight tickets to visit you. That is why I have not been talking to you as much, he said. I was stunned into silence. The beauty of what he had done for me, it was out of this world. I had never had anyone do such a thing for me. I had not thought that it would be possible for me to love him even more, but I had been proven wrong. My heart swelled. Wow, babe, I cannot believe that you are doing this for me. Tomorrow, I'll send some cash to help with the plane ticket, I said. You don't have to. 2 more weeks and I'll have enough, he protested. Nonsense. I want to have you with me as soon as possible. I want to help out. You're putting so much effort into coming to see me after all. Send me your account details so that I can make the transaction right now, I said. Okay, my love, I'll do so. I'll have to get back to work now. Love you, he said. As soon as he hung up, I made the transaction. Hopefully it would reflect by tomorrow, and I would have him in my arms very soon. I wanted to hold him so desperately. I was not sure if I would be able to contain my excitement for much longer. It would be the highlight of my entire year, getting to meet the love of my life. It could not have been any better than this. I fell asleep feeling giddy, and I dreamt about him. The next morning, I texted him to ask him for the money had reflected. The message only ticked once. I did not get worried though. I figured that he was not up yet, and he had been responding slower lately. But as the day went on, I got no response. I figured that he had had a busy day and he'd be unable to answer his messages, so I went to bed without speaking to him. The next morning, there was nothing. I texted him multiple times on different social media platforms, but I did not get anything back from him. I checked when he had last been active, and it had been on the last day that I had spoken to him. A million thoughts were running through my mind. What if he had been hurt or he was sick? The only connection that I had to him was Zia, who was out of town and would be back the following day. As soon as she got back, I reminded her to go over to his house and see if he was okay. She came back with the response that she had seen his dad, who had told her that he was not at home. I was worried when she said that. He could not have just fallen off the face of the earth. There had to be an explanation as to what was going on. My friends who I told asked me if I had given him any money. When I had said yes, they told me that I had been scammed. I did not want to believe it. He was my love, my confidant. He would never scam me. Zia kept on going back, but with no luck. It seemed as if he'd just fallen off the face of the earth. I was worried about him. I hoped that he was safe and nothing had happened to him. Maybe he was sick and that's why he was not replying to his messages. All I had was faith. Faith that he would come back to me and tell me that it was all a big misunderstanding. One day I woke up to a blank notification on my phone. All of the money that I had sent to him had been sent back to my account, so he was not scamming me as my friends had feared. I knew that he would never do something like that to me. He was my love and he loved me. He would never lie to me no matter what. He was honest. When I checked my messages, I had one from Zia telling me that she had gotten a hold of him and he was okay. She told me that he would call me with her phone in a few hours and that I had to keep my phone with me at all times. I could hardly get through work. My stomach was in knots. I was both excited and scared. What had happened to him and why had he sent back the money? Did that mean that he was not going to be coming to see me? Was he mad at me over something I had done? Was he going to break up with me? I had so many questions running through my head, and I hoped that he would answer them soon. Finally, when I had just arrived home, I got a call from Zia. "Hello?" I said. There was a pause. All I heard was breathing. "Hi," he said. My heart stopped. It was him speaking. I knew that I was going to speak to him, but the joy that I felt was unlike any other. He was actually speaking to me after a whole week of not speaking. "How are you?" I asked him. "Surviving," he said. "I get it. I missed you so much," my voice cracked. I could not keep in the emotions that threatened to make me cry. "I missed you too," he said. "What happened?" I asked him. "Father found out about us," he simply said. "How?" I left my phone unlocked by mistake. It was in our chat. He read through every single message. He took all of my devices. He told me to stay in my room while he thought about what to do with me. He was really upset, he said. My stomach nodded. This was worse than I had thought. He told me never to speak to you again. He said that you had corrupted me and that it was all your fault that I was having such thoughts. He started to breathe heavily. "Sorry, my love," I said. "It's not your fault. I wanted to talk to you for the last time. I do not know what will happen to me after this. I want to thank you for the love that you have given me," he said. "I don't want you to go," I started to cry. "I don't want to go. My hands are tied." He took all of the money that I was saving and used it to pay for my college. "Luckily, I managed to send you back your money," he said. "You cannot leave me. I love you," I shouted. "I love you. I would happily leave this earth today, for I have seen love. You have loved me. And I will always love you," I said. "You will always be in my heart," he said, and he hung up. I threw my phone across the room and wept. I do not know how long I stayed in that room, crying for my love. I was shattered beyond repair. I had lost the one I loved most and was expected to live. I cursed everything that had led us to this moment. I cursed the stars for showing me a person that I could love and taking him away from me. My heart was broken. I would not be okay, not after such a blow. I don't know how long I cried. It's unfair how some people get to be with their loved ones, but people like me have to sacrifice their love countless times. Can we not be allowed to love? Can we not be scared to fall in love? The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.